Shall we start, sir?
Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all on the last day of this FDP. Before I introduce our speaker, I want to brief you about the post-lunch session. Uh, Today at 2:30, we will have a valedictory session in which I expect the feedback from all the participants, followed by photo session and vote of thanks. After a valedictory session at 3:30, there will be a quiz, and this quiz will be of 30 marks. In that, there will be 40 questions, out of which any 30 can be attended. There will be no negative marking, and the duration of the exam will be of 1 hour. And this exam is compulsory for all, without which the certificate cannot be issued by ATL. And minimum 60% marks have to be secured. So I request all the participants to uh, attend the quiz. It is most important thing of this FDP. So now I introduce our speaker of this session. I welcome our speaker, Mr. Mehul Gandhi sir. Mehul sir is a business associate in a State Modeler Private Limited. He is also trainer and consultant. He has earned master in quality and productivity management. He owned more than 8 years of industrial experience working as a quality assurance head. He is certified Lean Six Sigma Black Belt. He is certified ISO 9001 Quality Management System internal auditor. He has trained more than 1,000 participants and guided more than 30 improvement projects. His area of expertise are Advanced Excel, Quality Tools, Six Sigma, and ISO Quality Management System. Today, he will discuss the improve phase of the Lean Six Sigma. So I request Mehul Gandhi sir to take over the session. Sir, you can start your presentation.
Thank you, sir, for your kind introduction. So I would like to welcome all of you to this session. In this session, we are going to see the improve phase of Lean Six Sigma. So in previous sessions, you go through the define phase, measure phase, analyze phase, and due to some circumstances, you also cover the control phase, which is actually the next step of improve phase. But the phase improve phase is also a very important phase to be executed during the Six Sigma project. Right? So as the word suggests or the phase suggests called improve, here we will try to improve over the problem, over the causes or the reasons which we identified from the analysis phase, right? So basically, what are the goals or the objectives of a improve phase? So let's see that, and then we will move to our content. So basically, you have seen that during all the phases, we are come up with the one equation called y is equal to fx. That is y is equal to fx. Now, y means our effect or the problem for which we want to improve or we want to change our process or want to improve in our process so that we can have benefit like some cost benefit or operational point of view benefit, like this. And what is x? So x is the reasons or the causes due to which we are facing the problem. So during overall Six Sigma project, we try to solve this equation using this systematic methodology called DMAIC. Now during each phase, like define phase, we are focusing on defining the why. So basically what we are doing, we are defining the problem statement. Now I am just explaining these things because I just want to make a connection of previous steps or previous phases with the improve phase. So in the define phase, we basically define the why or the problem statement using some tools like Pareto chart, histogram. You make एक project charter हम करेंगे. So we just make a project charter to make our problem or define the problem. In the measure phase, we are measuring the why. So we want to conclude how our why is impacting to our business case. Then in the analyze phase, we move to the X from Y. So in the analyze phase, we want to validate the relation between X and Y, right? So whatever, how much our X is impacting on our Y. Now, after analyzing these things or finding the X or the relationship between X and Y, we need to improve or we need to find out some possible solutions by which we can solve our problem or at least optimize our problem, right? So this is the core objective of improve phase, where we will identify some potential solutions, we will try to implement it, and will cross check or we validate how much improvement we received from this improvement, right? So let's see whatever the overall objective of this improve phase. So first of all, we will look into the solutions identification using some creative techniques. So what are the creative techniques we are going to cover in this session? After identification of multiple solutions, we will try to figure out some important, or you can say the prioritize the solutions, because when we try to identify the solutions, we will have a multiple solutions, let's say 40-50 solutions for one problem. But to improve or to take action on all these 40-50 axes, it is operationally also difficulties. Cost of point of view, it is a more costly. So what we do, we try to prioritize the solutions so we can optimize our problem very effectively. After prioritizing, we will make one cost benefit and risk analysis. Now, whenever we try to improve something or change something in our process, there is a chance that it might not go as per our expectation. So there is some risk associated with it. So we have to analyze the risk before implementing. After this, we will do some piloting projects. So before implementing it into the overall process or overall range of our objective, we will try to make it implement on some of the area, so we can identify that yes, this improvement or the solutions which we are trying to implement is up to the level what we are expecting, or there might some changes required before it implement to overall the area. Once we succeed in the piloting stage, we will implement it into the full scale implementation. So this is how we will go through the improve phase. Now let's coming to the solution identification. So what we are doing during the solution identification, how we can do the solution identification. So basically solution identification, we received many, or you can say a list of validated root causes through analysis phase by using cause and effect diagram, cause and effect matrix. Now we want to develop the solutions of that root causes, because that root causes are validated. Somehow it is impacting to our problem statement, that is why. Solution identification is again a collective activity. We need a team over here to continue this phase, right? Now the purpose, so how we do this activity with the team. So basically we do with it with a brainstorming. So we will do some brainstorming over here to collect some ideas how that problems could be eliminated or optimized, right? Now we are also using brainstorming in a analysis phase. Sometimes we also use brainstorming in define phase also if it is required. So the purpose of using a brainstorming on a different stage, the purpose is difference, right? So when you try to use a brainstorming in a analysis phase, your objective or the purpose of using the brainstorming is to identify the potential or possible root causes. At that time, you are not talking about the solutions. But here, when we use this same tool in the improve phase, our main focus is to identify the possible or potential solutions for our validated root causes, right? So the purpose of the brainstorming is different over here. We can use several techniques which helps us to just provoke our participants or actively participation of our participants to identify the possible solutions. Now, what are these several or creative techniques? So the first technique is called as a 6-3-5 brainwriting. Right. So you can see say that this is also one of the part of brainstorming. Right. So during the brainstorming session, you might go under the sleep method, brainstorming by the sleep method. So this is something similar to this technique. So what we do under the brainstorming session of this 6-3-5 technique. So usually there are 6 participants. All 6 participants will give a pen and paper and they are supposed to write 3 ideas. And they will give 5 minutes of time to write these 3 ideas. Now, by doing this, we can generate solutions almost 108, up to the 108 different solutions we can identify or we can record. Now, there might be a question, how this 108 could be there? Because it's 6 participants, all will write 3 ideas. So that will be the 18 ideas. So let me just explain. So for example, we have 6 people and they are writing 3 ideas. Now, once a first round of 5 minutes is completed, this paper will shuffle. Likewise, this first person will give his or her paper to the second person. Second will give it to the third person, and so on. This same activity will continue till this first person gets his or her paper back with him. So what will happen at the end of first 5 minutes, we have 18 ideas. It will run up to 6 times because we have 6 people. So ultimately, we are going to have 108 possible ideas by using this simple and very effective method. Right. So who can be these 6 participants? So this is dependent on your project or the objectivity. So for example, you are doing the project in the production department for improving your production process. So there might be one person for your production team, or let's say 2 people from production team, one as a higher authority who can take some decisions, one for a floor operator, your production in charge, or a machine operator, something. So you can give the practical input or operational input which they are facing during execution of the process. One person also can be from your finance department. So sometimes if some decision or some idea which needs to be discussed based on financial terms, so that financial guy can give you input over there. Sometimes your maintenance person could be there, because when you are talking about the production, we generally use machines. So when there are a machine, we need some kind of maintenance. So maybe during some suggestions, there are some suggestions which says we need a improvement in our machines. So at that time, maintenance point of view, we need some ideas. So like this, you need to decide according to your objective how many participants should be there and who should be the part of your team during this activity. So this is not you can say the thumb rule that you need to have this person. According to your objectivity and your process, you can have your team members. So as you see this process, so let's see it benefits. So what are the benefit of 635 brainwriting methodology or a technique? So number one, by this method, we can have a creative thinking, we can have different kind of solutions with us. Number two, we can have an opportunity to build ideas from other ideas, because one paper is going to the another person. So the three ideas whichever written by a first person, another person can have another aspect or another idea based on that three ideas. So we can have this benefit. After that, it is a very easy method, so everyone can understand that, and it is very effective also. What it does, it helps to generate a large number of ideas within a short period of time. So let's say we have taken the 6 people and we give the 5 minutes in each round. So by 30 minutes, by half an hour, we have almost 108 different possible solutions or idea with us. So within a short span of period, we have a large amount of ideas with us. And by this, our recording also becomes too easy, right? Because all are writing in the individual paper, so our recording is also very easy. Now, as there are some benefits, we have limitations also of this method. Like it happens that all the people who are in your team might not express their idea very clearly. So the expressing ideas in a written way from many leads to issues. So there are so many people who cannot write exactly what they are thinking. So the clarity, basically, the meaning of this is the clarity behind the writing might not be there. Number two, there can be participants who are struggling with the handwritings. It is possible that someone has write some ideas and it is not readable. So it might cause some issue. Number three can be there that we are giving a limited time, that 5 minutes in each round. So it will be like exam. We know very much things, so many things we know, but during the exam, due to the pressure of time and all other factors, it happens that we forgot many things. So the same thing can happen here due to the time stress. People cannot give their best quality output over there, right? So these are some limitations associated with 635 brainwriting. Now, what is second method? Second is anti-solution. What we do generally in anti-solution, so during this you can say this COVID pandemic situation, we listen very much a famous word called antibody, right? So now what is antibody? So basically, when we cannot solve the problem by directly identifying in a you can say this positive direction, we try to think in a reverse direction. So what we do in this vaccine, we try to just give some portion or you can say the some part of this live virus or dead virus into our body through the virus this is vaccine. So our body will create some antigens in our body. So whenever there is a actual attack of a real you can say virus, our body can protect us. So likewise we can use anti-solution techniques in our this improve phase also. So basically here we try to think in a reverse order or reverse direction. Like we want to, for example, we want to reduce the lay time, and we are not getting the clue how we can reduce our lay time. So what we can do like, let's think how we can increase the lead time. So वहाँ पे at that time or at that place we have a lot of ideas. So many people will say that let's decrease the RPM of the machine, or let's change this parameter, or we can do this thing that will improve that will increase the reduce that will increase the lead time, right? So when we got all these things, now let's take these points and see our process. So our RPM is on a right track or not, our methodology is proper or not. So whatever the solutions or the reasons you received by this, you can cross validate with your actual process, and by that you might have so many ideas, right? So as we see the benefits and limitations of a brain wetting method, we also have for this for anti-solution method. So what are the benefits of anti-solution? So number one, we push the boundaries of thinking, because when we are trying to think in a reverse direction, we have a lot many ideas. Rather than thinking a straight way, if we think in a reverse direction, we observe that there are more chances of getting a more solutions. It works best when people are not highly motivated. So in our team, or the team which are working on the floor are not motivated, not very rigorous to improve the processes, at that time this methodology or these techniques works very best. Building ideas from another idea is possible, right? So again, anti-solutions. So some people will say that yes, by just reducing the RPM we can reduce increase the lead time or a cycle time, right? So on that idea it is possible, someone says yes, we can do this thing also. So it is also possible over here. And again, it is also very easy to learn and understand the things. We also have some limitations for anti-solution technique. Like it happens that during this process it creates so many chores, because all are just giving their ideas, they are murmuring between each other. So it may happen that there is some kind of confusion and something. Number two, some people may oppose the ideas. So it is possible someone says let's reduce the RPM, and some technical guy or some another guy said it is not the way to do this. So there is a chances of opposing. Okay, so these are some limitations of anti-solution. There are another technique called scamper. Right. Now, what is scamper? So it is not a word. It is the acronym of some words which is make it to the scamper. So basically, it motivates team to break the boundaries. The main purpose of using the scamper technique is to break the boundaries of our team. Right. So what is scamper? So scamper is refers to the word which try to motivate peoples, or try to you can say make a innovative in your existing product or a services, or the process, or the situations for which you try to find out some ideas. Now as, so scamper, as is for a substitute. The meaning of as is substitute. Number two is C, that is combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, and reverse. This word makes our final name called scamper. So let's see it in some detail, how we can use a substitute. So what is mean by substitute? So when we are trying to replace something with some another thing, it is called substitution. So same way we think to a change or a substitute a part of a problem or a product or a process with some another part, problem or a process. Is this make a difference to our process? Is it help to improve our process? Right. So let's say a product called hot dog. So generally when this product come in the market and become a popular, it is basically a non-vegetarian product. Then as a you can say a popularity of this product, they want to cover a more market. But the issue in the India or some another country is more people are vegetarian. So they try to replace this product with the vegetarian ingredients. So they have developed vegetarian hot dog. Right? So by this, their sales has gone up. Right? So this is how you can think with the your process, how you can substitute your product or the process. Here are some hints you can use during your execution of the process or improvement during the improvement phase. So what material or resources can you substitute? You can question on your material or resources. You can also question on your product or processes. So which product can be replaced, which process could be replaced. So for example, you are doing some cutting process manually. So is it possible to make it automatic? So that is the substitution of the process. If there are some rules or SOPs, something which you can amend or substitute with some another thing, right? So likewise, there are some hints which is mentioned over here you can use during your substitute section. Number 2 is combine, right? So when what is combine? So here we will try to combine some part of our processes, or there is a word called proportionality, right? The word called proportionality, that is prob, that means problem, and opportunity, that means opportunity. So when you are trying to take some opportunity from your problem, so we need to think about the combining our two part or the processes of problem and opportunity over here. So like if you have observed, so many people during this COVID situation, they have explored their creativity, so self creativity, and so many people has converted that creativity into their profession. So what that people do done, the problem of COVID, so that lockdown is there, job is not there, so they have taken the opportunity of that lockdown, they improve their inner creativity and converted it into the profession, right? So likewise we also can have opportunity to convert that problem into the opportunity, like this musical greeting cards. Earlier we are just having a greeting cards, simple greeting cards. Nowadays we add a musics, so when you open that greeting card, some kind of musics will be there, right? So this is how you can think over it. Here are some hints for combine method, that what ideas or part can be combined. It is possible to do some two processes at a time. So for example, in one of the company we have seen that they have a CNC and VMC machines. Okay. Now their setup time is almost 1 hour for changeover. They want to improve their setup time So what they did, so they identify some of the activities which can be done during the process is in or your machine is in running condition, right? So they have observed that out of total activities, 30% of the activities are the activities which can be performed for next production. So let's say here a product A1, product A is running on the machine. After completion of product A, they are supposed to produce product B. So the product B, the setup for product B will take 1 hour. They identify the some combination or some part of the setup process which can be done during the this process A is running, right? So directly they save a 30% of time by just combining two processes put together. Now, can we combine another machines or tools with together? Likewise, you can think. So these are some hints you can use. Number 3 is adopt. So what techniques you can adopt over here, or what are the things you can remove from your process which we need to think. So here we need to think about the part of a problem or a product or the process which can be adopted to remove the opportunity. So likewise, snow tires, right? So what happens? Companies have observed that where there is a much issues of snow, we need to develop something that vehicles can run on that situations also. So they have adopted a snow tires, right? Same, we have a hints over here. So how could we adopt or readjust the product to serve another purpose or use? So by selling the one product, we can solve multiple purposes, right? So it is not there in the cars that when there is a no snow, you have to change the tire, or when there is a snow, you have to again change the tire. So there is a one tire which serves a purpose in all the situations, all the seasons. So likewise, we have to think about the possible solutions. Another thing is modify. So what we can modify in our process or in our current situation. So let's think about the changing a part of all the current situation. So the method, here we are talking about the method, how we can change the situation or the perspective of looking the situation, right? So all you can eat at restaurant. So there are multiple items which is available in a single door or single you can say the uh, entity. So you can have a multiple options to select. So likewise, we can look into the opportunities. So how could we change the shape, look or feel of your product, right? Many a time it happens, the product is very good, the quality or the function or the performance of the product is very good, but due to some aesthetical issues, the product may not perform in the market as per the expectation. So we also can change the shape or think of changing some design or something which may help us to just come out of this idea or this problem. P4 is put to another use. So here what we do, so think of how you might able to put your current situation, product or processes to the other purposes. So when your product is not performing, sometimes you do this, that change the purpose, market is in a different way. So if you remember when this polio uh, vaccine, or you can say the polio is marketed by government, they have taken Amitabh Bachchan for the advertisement to encourage the people to that they go to the centers and give polio vaccines to their childs. Now, when they started the campaign of encouraging, they are just fail to encourage the peoples. Again, they are come up with another idea. Again, they fail. Then they have made a detailed analysis for this. And if you have seen all the different campaigns, at the last campaign, they have observed that though we are taking Amitabh Bachchan, a famous personality, to encourage the people, still it is not up to the mark. So they have observed that how at that area the perception of Amitabh Bachchan was, it is like angry young man. So at the last campaign of Amitabh Bachchan, he represent this thing in a this situation like angry young man. Like if you have seen the that advertisement, he says, how many times I need to tell you, आपको कितनी बार ये चीज बतानी पड़ेगी, you have to give a polio to your child. So like in a some that manner, so people are just identifying this thing in a that manner, right? So we can do something like this. Here are some hints for that. Another one is eliminate. How we can eliminate some steps or various part of our product or processes. In this thing, in this section, we need to think these things, right? So for example, we have a telephone before so many years with a cable or a wire, right? What they did, they eliminate the cable. Even if you see in these mobile phones, earlier they are supposed to give so many things. They are supposed to give a phone with battery and earplugs. They also give up the charger something and different accessories with her. And nowadays what happens, they have eliminated the, you can say, these earplugs. They are not giving earplugs right now. Cable length of the cable is getting shorter. So what they are doing, they are eliminating the part of the product or the entire product. So we need to try to identify this elimination, what we can eliminate. We cannot eliminate the essential part. We cannot eliminate the battery. We have to receive the battery with the phone, right? But the earplug will not directly affect the you can say the performance of the product or the main core functionality of the product. So they have decided to eliminate the earplugs. Right? Then R for reverse. So here what we will think about the part of the opportunity product or processes can be worked in a reverse order or a different order, right? So for this we have a superb example we are going to see of a McDonald's in a couple of minutes. These are some hints for a reverse. So how our we can change the sequence or we can change the process which can affect positively in our business case, right? So let's say one example of McDonald's where they have used the scamper, right? So they have used a put to other use. So it is not necessary in all the cases you have to use all the scamper techniques. It is possible one or two or three techniques will help for you. So here McDonald's had adopted a three techniques, or you can say sub techniques, right? Do you know what is the core business of McDonald's? The core business of McDonald's is real estate, but they have adopted put to other use. So basically right now they are selling the restaurant and real estate instead of just simply burgers, right? So in one of the interview of McDonald's owner, he has himself explained this thing. Okay, one of the journalist has asked him, how this burger business give you the this much of popularity and this much of business. At that time, he had asked, "Do you know what is my core business?" And then he had explained this: "My core business is real estate." He has also include elimination, like letting customers serve themselves. So in none of the McDonald's restaurant, you see there is a waiter to serve the peoples. We have to serve ourselves. So they have eliminated the system or the expense of the waiter. They have also adopted a reverse method. Like, what is reverse method? So having a customer pay before they eat. So when we go to any restaurants, what we do, we just order something, we eat it, and after we pay. But McDonald's had adopted you pay first and then eat. So this is the reverse. पेमेंट साइकिल का जो आपका सीक्वेंस है, they have made your payment sequence in a reverse order. Likewise, you can think about the things. We have another method called think like a kid. So generally what happens when we are as an adult or as an experienced person or as a technical person, when you are thinking, we just try to follow some rules and regulations or some perceptions or the experience we have in our mind. So we cannot think out of box. It creates some boundaries. So before when we think something, we immediately got the negative or the what can be the wrong in our process by doing this thing will come first in our mind, right? So what happens due to this, some boundaries created which restrict our thinking. So we also try to think like a kid because kids do not have any kind of boundaries. They can speak like they do not know if we do this thing what can be happen. So of course by having some ideas like this, we also need to validate before implementation, but at least we can have a more ideas, right? So let's see one example for this. So for example, there is an issue that an elevator is too slow. Generally when we go in some building which is for example 15 story or 20 story building, and it takes 2 3 4 minutes to reach over the 15 or 20 floor, we think the elevator or lift is too slow. Now by this problem statement, what can be the solutions according to us? So we say make a elevator faster. We are thinking it for this. Another idea can be install a new lift with a new technology, or upgrade the motor which can run elevator fast, or also you can do that change the or improve the algorithm on which the elevator is working. But now let refresh the problem by which our kid understands, like according to the kids understand, like the waiting is annoying, so they are getting bored by the time. What can we do that we cannot the passenger will not get bored? So let's put the mirror in the lift. What will happen? We all people are self-centric. So when we go into the lift and we see some mirrors over there, we try to just adjust our hair, we try to check our face is proper or not, something. So it will not just feel you that the this elevator is slow, right? You can do play a music, so you can have some music over there, right? So when music is there, people will think their memories and something. So that their concentration on the time they spent in the elevator will not be a in a center, right? You can also install a hand sanitizer something. So in this current situation, it is most important thing, right? So they use the sanitizer and something, and at that, by the time they will reach their destination. So just look at the things. If you go by these solutions, how many cost will be there, right? And here, so we have to see the benefits and the cost. So our next topic is called cost, benefit, and risk analysis, right? So under which we will discussing this thing. Right. Then another one is benchmarking. Now, what is benchmarking? So by benchmarking, also you can have a creative ideas. So you have to benchmark your product or the processes with some another process or products. So by which you can have a multiple ideas. So for example, one company is doing something by which they are getting some more benefits or more selling. So can we benchmark their techniques, or can we benchmark their you can say the idea? We need to think this thing. So let's see what is benchmarking. So benchmarking is a process or a technique by which you can search the best methods, practices, or processes, or you can adopt some another proven techniques which can give you the best result, right? Let's take an example of doctors, right? What they do before the operation, right? When they are doing operation, if you have observed, the people or the, you can say the nurse who is with him, they are just managing all the operation activities with a combination of, you can say, signs. They are not talking with each other during operations like give me the scissor, give me this tool, give me this tool, right? Another thing, all the tools or techniques or whatever the instrument they need during the OT, all are arranged within the table. So they do not require to go to the another place, collect the things and use it. So can we adopt that process or that activities or the method in our process for a tool setup or something? So we kept ready all the tools, all the equipments which are required for tool setup, so we can save the time. So generally in industry, what happens here, one machine is running. After completing the process, next tool is available here. So they go to here. Now during this motion or the transportation, you can say this place to this place, so another employee is working here. So by directly going here, they go here, have some chat here, then they will go to collect this tool. So some supportive tools which are required for setup are stored here. So after collecting this, they go here and then they come here. So this is the waste of time. So can we arrange something that that tool will be we arrange over here something by which we can save the time or the energy of our employees. So this is how you can benchmark from another process to our process. There are some most popular benchmarking techniques. One of the benchmarking technique is peer benchmarking. Right? So what we do in a peer benchmarking, so in that we are trying to just compete or adopt the processes or the, you can say, the product of our closest competitor. If you see during this COVID situation, first one company has come up with COVID policy, special COVID policy. What other companies do? They also come up with special COVID policies. What they do? They also benchmark their product to their closest competitor So this is how you can do the peer benchmarking. Next one is best practice benchmarking. So nowadays there are multiple companies or multiple businesses which are doing a business or the process like you. So can you adopt some best practices followed in the industries which can give you the benefit or improve your processes? This can be the you can say the improvement chance over there, or you can set the benchmark. Yes, we also want to reach over the that position. So that can be your benchmark. Number 3 is SWOT analysis. So you can do the SWOT analysis of your process or your entire organization or one of your team also. So what is SWOT analysis? So S for strength, W for weakness, O for opportunity, and T for trend. So it will be like some metrics. So the metrics will be like this. So you can do your strength, your weakness or opportunity, and threats. So you take one problem statement or your process, and let's see what are the strength of your process or your operator or your machine. What are the weaknesses in your resources? What are the opportunities available with you? So upgrade the technology, train the operators, something like this, change the material. What are the threat? So the cost associated with upgrading the technologies or different threats you can mention over there. So by which you can have idea where we can improve, where we need to improve most. Then process benchmarking. So again, as we see in the base practice, it is almost similar to this, right? So what we can do, we can benchmark our internal process over here. So for example, we have a same process over a 2 different unit. One unit is performing a, you can say, a better way. One is little bit of lower than another unit. So can we obtain a process of a first unit over to the second unit? So we are obtaining the internal process to some another process. So it is considered as a process benchmarking. Another thing is performance benchmarking. You can do the performance benchmarking. So in which what happens? So one particular aspect of their business to be established in a performance matrix that allowed them to measure that output against their own previous results. So it is this performance benchmarking is generally happens in a sales department. So in the last year we have a sales of 10 crore. So let's take it a benchmark and let's cross it. So we set the target like we have a 10 crores of sales in this year. Let's take a benchmark of 12 crores this year. Right. So this is how you can have a performance benchmarking. And another one is collaborative benchmarking. Right. So as you can see, there are multiple management or multiple bodies which are associated. So you can see MSCME association or so many these associations are there. Likewise, I am talking about Gujarat. We have BMI, Baroda Management Association over here. We have a GEO, Gujarat this employee body have. So what they do, they try to improve the small industries. So this is the collaborative approach. Another industry is doing these things. Let's adopt this thing and try to improve another process or the industry which are not performing according to the or our expectation. So this can be happen. Now, how this benchmarking should be there? How you can use this benchmarking process? So for this, first you have to set a goal. For which purpose you want to make this benchmarking, based on which you can select any of the benchmarking process we have gone through. After that, you have to choose the metrics. So you are looking for a cost benefit, or you are looking for the operational benefits and something. Then you have to select the data collection method, how we will collect some data for this. After collecting the data, you have to analyze the things, and after it you have to use that information which are derived from the analysis for the improvement, right? Now there is some you can say a confusion between benchmarking and KPIs. So what is benchmarking? So benchmarking is the reference point. We are referring that we are here and we want to reach at some level of point, or we want to just match our level to some another process or product. So that is benchmarking, or you can see the target, right? And benchmarking is a part of planning, whereas KPI is a real situation against goal. So we are measuring where we are, where we want to reach, and currently where we are. So that is a KPI. KPI is generally a performance measurement, performance of your process, performance of your employee, performance of your machineries. And this is the part of evaluation, because here we are evaluating where we want to reach and where we have reached. Right? So this is the difference between benchmarking and KPI. So after deciding all the things, we have a possible solutions, list of possible solutions over this techniques called Scamper, or you can have a identify these solutions using benchmarking, or the combination of both. What we need to do, we have to prioritize it. Right. So let's see how we can prioritize or select the optimal solutions. So first we need to prioritize the solutions. So why we need to do the prioritization of the solutions? So there may be a multiple solutions for one cause or a problem. It is possible that one solution may have a multiple solutions, right? We have to find the solutions which give us the optimum result. So we need to check the metrics, which solution will give us the best result. Likewise, we have, for example, 4 ways to reach some destination. Now we have to decide which way to select. Way number 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is possible way number 1 is a shorter in length, but it is possible that there are heavy traffic, so it might take a more time, though it is a less distance. So all these things we need to think. So it is better that we go with a way number 3, though it is a little bit of a far compared to way number 1, but there is no traffic. So our time, if our objective is to save the time, then we can select way number 3. So likewise, we need to have to find the optimum result. Now, what is optimum result in terms of industry or a practicality? So our objective could be, we want to reduce the cost of our product, cost of our process. We also looking how easily we can implement these things. We can implement that possible solutions very easily. We do not need much, you can say the training, or we might not require much cost associated with it. We do not need more time to implement that thing. So that is considered as a easy to implement. And with this, it is impactful. So our overall objective that we want to solve that problem will not be, you can say, not up to the level. So it is impactful. So we, by optimum result or optimum, we meaning these things. Now, how you can prioritize a solution? So there are some systematic steps you can follow to prioritize the solutions. Like number 1, you can make a list of all possible solutions. right? So first, what we will do, make a list of all possible solutions using different methods. After this, we will decide some criterias like time to implement, cost to implement, what are the consequences or a side effects can be there. We will decide some criterias over there. After defining the criterias, we will give some weightage to the criterias, like you have given in the cause and effect matrix, to prioritize the cause, right? And after giving the this rating and weightage, we calculate the score for each and every solutions we have received. After that, based on that score, we prioritize the solution and we finalize the solutions which we are going to implement. So this is the systematic, you can say, the steps which can be followed to the this to solve your problem. So we have used up, you can use same step in project prioritization process or cause and effect matrix to prioritize the causes, right? So process is similar to that same. So let's say take one example how you can prioritize the solutions, right? So for example, one company is facing a problem of a rejection in codes. They have done a Six Sigma project over there and found some different solutions to reduce the wastage. That means rejection, right? So after the validated causes, they have find some possible solutions over there, like monitor tension setting to improve the bobbing condition of cord laying pulleys, use leftover cord with joint, and control the cord override. So these are some solutions they have come up with. Now what they do, they have make a matrix like easy to implement, cost effective, quick, so time, optimum time, and what impact could be there if we improve this step. After this, they have give the weightage to each, you can say, the uh, easy to implement or cost effective, that areas or criterias, right? Now sometimes if you are not able to decide this criteria exactly, you can divide this evenly. So for example, we have a 4 criteria over here. So what you can do, if you cannot exactly identify which how many percentage you should allot, you can divide it 25, 25, 25, and 25, right? If you have 5 causes, it will be 20, 20, 20, 20, right? So after giving this, let's just analyze. So here you need some inputs or again some brainstorming, right? So now when you do the brainstorming for the solution, what you need to do, you need to have a creative thinking, right? So in a previous brainstormings, you need a logical thinking why this problem is happened. So at that time you need some logical inputs, logical ideas. Due to this, it could be happened. Due to this, it could be happened. So like this, it is required a logical inputs. But when you are talking about improvement or finding some solutions, you need some creative techniques, some out of box techniques or ideas or solutions, right? So based on this also, your team for brainstorming may be different. So once you do this, we take a first solution of monitor tension setting. So if you think it is easy to implement, so let's give it 3. So you can decide the scale 1 to 10 or 1 to 5 according to the requirement. So 3 means it is very easy to implement because we have taken a 1 to 5 scale. If you think it is not easy to implement, give it 1 or 2. Is it cost effective? So whether we require a lot of budget to implement this, or it can be implemented within some you can say a short budget. So according to it, you give the point. It is very quick to implement. So how much time it will take to implement the things? If it take a lot many time, let's say 3 months, 4 months, 5 months to implement or roll over that thing, so give it 1 or 2. If it easy, you can implement is the next day or next week. Give it a full marks like this. So we have given all the markings here. After giving the mark, what we will do? We will find out the score. So how we will find out the score? So basically we do the summation of this and divide it by number of observations. So likewise, we receive the score here. So when we find out the score, we observe that this number 4 is on a highest level, that is 4.2. So what it suggests, we should improve, or we should take immediate action on use leftover code with joint. So generally in a code process, what happens? So this is the 2 points where there are a tension on this code. So it happens that it breaks over here. So you need to decide how much of the pressure we need to give in this process. So all these things you need to implement this. Can you use this code with next? You can join this code with the this next. You can say this cable tray. So these are the possible solutions you need to identify. Now there is a one matrix called Eigen impact matrix. What it has? So we use ease of application or implementation, and what is the impact of that implementation. So we make a matrix. So ease of implementation, on the right hand side it will be the high impact, or you can say the high ease of implementation, or on the left hand side it will be the low ease of implementation. On a vertical way we will mention the impact. On a higher side, if the impact is higher, we will mention in these two box or these two matrix. If the impact is not as per the expectation, it is low, we will refer it to the this lower section. So let's say if any of the solutions comes under the this category, that is the implementation is also easy and the impact is also high. So what we do, we try to immediately implement that solution as soon as possible. Just a minute, please. Now let's say some of the solution is easy to implement, but the impact is not that much. We are not getting the benefit what we are looking for by implementing that solution. So what we should do, we can consider that solution for a future implementation. If the ease of implementation is low, so it is difficult to implement, but the impact is high. So let's plan how we can easily implement, or how can systematically we can implement that solution. So in that case, we will plan it to execute in a near future or a step by step during by systematic approach. Right. So this is how with this is an impact matrix you can prioritize how the solutions could be implemented. after you have prioritized the solutions, we need to do the cost benefit and risk analysis. So whatever the, for example, you are come up with some ideas in immediately improvement, some of the ideas which you are looking to plan in a near future. So you have to look into the cost benefit and risk analysis or risk associated with this implementation. So let's see cost benefit and risk analysis. So now what is cost benefit? The cost benefit analysis is a process a business used to analyze decisions. So whether these solutions should be implemented, what will be the benefit over a period after this implementation. So for example, let's take one example like you are trying to implement some process and you have decided to upgrade your technology. For that, you need a investment of 10 lakh rupees. Now you want to know when and how your investment, that is 10 lakh rupees, will cover, and from where we will starting the gaining, or you can say the ROI, return on investment, will start. So here your financial guy can help you, right? So for example, let's take an example. After implementing this or a new technology, your rejection rate would go like, current you have a 10% of rejection, and you are assuming that after implementing this technology or changing some process, your rejection could be of 2%. So now your financial guy can calculate. So at the given point of time when there is a rejection of 10%, how many cost you are losing behind the rejection, and if your rejection is uh, decreased to the 2%, how many cost you will save, and by comparing it to this invested amount, they can say you, yes, after 6 months we can have the real benefits, because during these 6 months we are just covering our expense or the investment we have incurred. But after once this is covered, whatever the benefit we are going to have upon the rejection, let's say the 8% of the benefit will be our real cost benefit. Yes, so this is how we do the cost benefit analysis. Now, cost benefit analysis can have a two component. Number one is quantitative benefits. What are the quantitative benefits? Like what is the payback period? So as we have seen, after 6 months, we will have a return on investment. What will be the rate of return? So for example, in our example, we have see 8%. We have saved 8% of the rejection. What is the return of investment? So whatever the amount of this 8% will be, it will consider as a return of investment. And what is the net present value? So these are the quantitative benefits or financial benefits we can calculate. Another thing is qualitative benefits. Like if your process is improving, it makes easy, you make your process easy to operate, your employee will be satisfied. Number two, you are also support the compliances or the some statutory or regulatory requirements of the government. Number three, your client or your customers could be satisfied because you are improving your process. So might be your productivity will improve, your quality will improve. So ultimately your customer will get a delivery on time, product with the quality which is required by the customers. So your customer will also be very satisfied. And if our customers are satisfied, They will be loyal to us. So these are the qualitative benefits which are not directly impacting on our financial, you can say, the balance sheet, right? So qualitative benefit will not directly impact on our balance sheet. They will indirectly help us to improve our profitability or our growth. Fine. So these are two aspects of looking to the cost benefit analysis. After we have analyzed the cost benefit and some risk associated with it. So for example, what risk could be there? So after implementing the new technology, we have assumed that current rate of 10%, rejection rate of 10%, we will reach up to the 2%. So whatever the cost benefit we have calculated is of 8%. But after implementing the technology, we have take the production and we have observed, collect the data, and we have observed we can reach up to the 4% or 6% only. So the difference between the expected rate of return and actual rate of return. So the, for example, the difference of we have expected 2% and we have reached up to only 6%. So that 4% is being considered as a risk factor. Right? This is the real risk. So this is how you can analyze the risk factor over here. Now, once we have done the cost benefit analysis and risk analysis, we try to make the implementation. So now the real, you can say, the reaction against your causes or the reasons will be there. Now we are trying to react to solve that issues. So before implementing it to the overall process, we will do the piloting project. So we'll take some portion of the process, some part of the process to implement whether the solutions which we are going to implement are up to the expectation or not, whether we need some kind of changes or the method of implementation or the speed of implementation. So by piloting we can have these ideas. So what we do in the piloting? So piloting is basically a testing our solutions on a small scale with a real business scenarios. What we do with piloting? So actually we are validating the solutions. Right? So hypothetical solutions we are assuming, we are validating that solutions with a real business scenarios. We are also trying to identify potential impact of the solutions. So whatever the solutions we have implemented, how much they are impactful on our problem in that small area or the portion we have selected. So by that we can rationally see. So half of the, or you can say 20% of the process we have taken as a improvement. So another 80% can have this much of impact. Another thing we can see, is there any side effect of the potential solutions? So if we implement, for example, one technique or one method of working, and we observe that by improving this thing, our actual cycle time got increased. So we need to identify that side effects. Just say we try to check the side effects of the vaccine, COVID vaccine. Is there any side effects? So for that, what we have done? We have pharmaceutical companies have implemented take some samples, let's say of 20,000 or 30,000 samples or volunteers to whom they have given the vaccine. Now, you think where they have taken all the healthy peoples to taste the vaccine? No, they have tried to take peoples with a healthy, you can say, well healthy peoples. They have also taken the peoples who have diabetic, they have a blood pressure issue or some heart disease. How they are claiming that diabetic people also can take this vaccine. It is also safe to them because they have tried it. They have validated that thing with their samples. Now the sample is, for example, we are talking about the process. We are taking a one portion of that process, and that process should also have some sort of issues in that which for which we are looking to the problem. Then only we can validate it in a very accurate manner or in a precision manner. And it is the step before full scale implementation. So when we go for the full scale implementation, it is recommended that we should go for a piloting process. Now, what are the things you need to consider before piloting? So, where to pilot? That means which portion of the process you should select for the piloting process. So, as I have told that for a vaccination, they have selected a people with well health, people with a diabetic and blood pressure and other issues in their body. Right? So that is where to pilot, what sample to be collected. Number two, how to ensure full range of process. So that means you have to select the sample like your overall process will be covered, or you can say the impact or the problem of overall of your process will be covered under this portion. So you can have a better idea how many days or how many trials you need to go under the piloting. So you will look after for 3 months or a 1 month, or you will do this for 3 times. As you see in a vaccine, so they have do the 2 trials, or we just listen in the news that this vaccine is under the third trial or a second trial. So likewise, you can decide how many times you want to trial this solution, or how many number of days or month you want to try this methodology, or some changes you have implemented. When you implement something, you have to measure it. Without measuring, you cannot validate that things. So you have to decide what things you will going to measure after this implementation. With this, you also have to decide how you will measure the process or the changes or the impact on your process. That methodology, or that you can say this metrics, you have to decide, and how to evaluate the piloting result. After measuring, you have to analyze again. So how you will evaluate or analyze the potential result, or you can say the piloting result you have received. So this is the things you need to consider during implementation of piloting project. Once you have received or achieved the level you want, you have to plan for a full scale implementation. Right. So let's see the full scale implementation. So once you have completed your piloting process completely or successfully, you need to implement solution in your entire process or different machines. Let's say, for example, you have 5 machines, 5 injection machines with you, and you have decided to improve the technology. So you have taken a one machine for a technology upgradation. You have implemented, see the result, productivity is improved, quality is improved, any other aspect which is required, that is setup time or whatever the things which are associated with that, your metrics, you have get the benefit. Now let's implement it in a all 4 remaining machines. So that is called as a full scale implementation. During full scale implementation, you have to also see what can go wrong, what will be the side effects. So some of the side effects or some of the things you have observed during this piloting will also help you here during the full scale implementation. Or if we increase the scope, so for example, it happens that if you are looking the process into the smaller way, that problem is also a smaller. But when you make it a bigger, when you make your scope bigger, so proportionally that problem, or you can say the side effect, can go a drastically higher. So you have to validate that things before increasing your scope. Now you need some kind of resources to implement the full scale, to implement your process in a full scale implementation. So what are the resources required? So for example, you need some systems. It is called a system requirements. Like there are several systems during full scale. So for this, to whom you can communicate or to whom you should uh, discuss or brainstorm for a system requirement. So you can take a concerns to your champions or who are leading this project. So which systems to be required, which are the SOPs to be implemented, what are the technologies to be implemented, how much time we need to complete this project. So all these things we need to discuss under the system requirement. Another resources we require like manpower. So to improve or implement that possible solutions, we need a manpowers. So are we required additional manpower, or we can implement that solution with our existing manpowers? Are we need to train our manpowers? So something we need to discuss about our resources. So to whom you can discuss these things? So in many of the organizations, it is there that there is some channel by which you have to go. So for example, in some of the industries, it is happen you cannot directly talk with your HR guy. So you have to report your immediate boss or the champion or the leader of this project. They will talk to the HR person. In some of the small industries, it is happens that you can directly talk with your HR guy. So you have to follow the proper channel, and you can have a manpower requirement. Another thing, it is possible that to for the implementation, you need some financial inputs or you need some budget to implement that solutions. So all for that you can discuss it with your champion, or you can follow that you can also have a discussion with your financial department based on the channel in your organization. So as we have know, all the solutions are not free. Some of the solutions need some cost. So for the technology upgradation, we need some kind of cost. For additional manpower, we need some kind of cost. To train the employees, we need some kind of cost. Now, during this implementation, we can also use some in-house techniques, like you implement the 5S, you implement the Kaizens, right? 5S is a you can say the technique or the methodology by which you can manage your workplace. So it might require that it not cost to you, because it is an internal activity and it can be done using a very short budget which does not require the approval process. You already have some sort of budget for your process or the department from your management, so you might require not to get the approval and something. Kaizen activities, so these are the small improvements or small changes in your process which may help you during this implementation process. So this is how some of the solutions can be a free, or some of the solutions can be a associated with the cost. Now, what will be your implementation plan? What could be your implementation plan? Let's take an example. So, for example, here there is one, you can say this company where they are facing some issues, and they are come up with some root causes. Let no marking on the tab. What happens? So basically, this company is manufacturing HV motors, high voltage motors. When they are taking it for a final inspection before going it to the customer, they are testing it, and that motor gets failed. Now they want to improve the quality of that this motor, and they have done this Six Sigma project, and at the end they receive these root causes. Against it, each root causes, they have mentioned the possible solutions, like no marking on the tab. So what happens? So the tab they are using in the HV motor, so it happens there is no marking on the tab, so they do not know. So the date, manufacturing date of that tab, the expiry date of that tab, so they simply use it. So during the testing, it happens that the tab is expired. So during the testing, it get failed. So they have decided mark all the tabs with manufacturing date, expiry date, and it is used. It should be checked before time of use. Now, after the solutions, these two things are most important. Who is responsible to implement this solution? Because without giving the responsibility or defining the responsibility, who is going to implement this thing, right? Not work as per your expectation. So, for example, this solution will be implemented by Mr. X. When it will be implemented, there could be a two aspect. Till when this solution will be fully implemented, or in some of the case you can have a date from where this solution will be implemented, right? Because some of the solutions will be there, like they will be on case, situation on situation. It could not be have a one single start or end date. In that case, you can put a start date from where you will start to implement this solution, right? So the target date is most important. Second one is measurement error. So there is a two possible solutions for a single root cause, that prepare a SOP to using the measuring instrument, and another possible solution is train your inspectors. So the persons who are checking your product or services, let's train them to use their instrument, because it is possible that if they are not using your instrument properly, that instruments are giving error, due to which your product is getting failed. Actually your product is not failed. Okay, so it is considered as a type 1 and type 2 error. So who is responsible for this? So for example, Mr. Y will implement this thing, and from by which date it will be implemented. So up to here, your plan will be prepared. After this, you need to take the follow-up, and during the follow-up stage, you will update the status according to this date. Sorry. Yes, you go through this. All the tabs has been marked. You go to the floor. You make a Gemba. You observe. Yes, this is implemented. Let's say this tab is done. You come to here SOP is prepared. It is communicated to all the concerned persons. Yes, done. Let's update the status. It is done. Likewise, you can update the status. So here it can be a option like pending or in progress, something depending on your status. So this is how you can follow the implementation plan. Right. So once it is done, we are completed with the improve phase. And now what we need to do, we need to sustain the solutions which we have worked upon. Whatever the benefits we have received, we just need to sustain. So all these things, how we can sustain all these, you can say the solutions, it will be sustained using, you can say, you can have this idea in the control phase, which you all had gone through already. So you have to take these solutions under the control phase, and you can validate your processes and products using some control chart and some another techniques. Right. So let's review the things we are gone through again. So how it will happen. So first thing, have you identified the solutions? Yes, we have identified the potential solutions or list of solutions, and uh, we listed down. After this, have you prioritized the solutions? Yes, we have finalized the solution or prioritized the solutions amongst all the solutions. So let's take another steps. Have you done the cost benefit analysis? Yes, we have done the cost benefit analysis, and with it we also did the risk analysis. Okay, so this step is completed. Now let's do the piloting. So have you uh, tested your solutions or have you validated your solutions? Did any changes required? Did we need to skip that solution, or we need to increase the scope of that solution? Can we implement that solutions in a vertical? That means we have implemented this solution in a unit number 1 or process number 1. Can we replicate it in the process number 2 or unit number 2? So have you done this? Yes. So let's go for a full scale implementation. So have you prepared for full scale plan with resources requirement, responsibilities, who is going to uh, implement this thing, by which time they are going to implement these things? So have you done all these things? Yes. Then congratulations, you have completed with the improve phase. Now you just need to sustain the things which you have implemented. So this is how we can implement the improve phase. In the improve phase, there are not such a statistical tools to be used. We are using some used tools like brainstorming or prioritization metrics, right? Because it's a more of a, you can say, a reactive tool. यहाँ पे in this tool we have to react. So this is more of improve phase is more of execution phase. That is why here there is not much a technical tools, or you can say statistical tools to be used. So this is the overall aspect how we can improve or how you can execute the improve phase. Thank you all of you. Now I would like to take any questions you have of improve phase. So now you all are open for question answer session.
Is there any questions? Any questions? Uh, Any questions? Suresh sir, do you have any question?
I have one question.
Yes, sir. Please may ask.
So in this FDP, we have come to learn that we have to adopt the YY solutions. In the yesterday's session also, we came to know that in India, we are following who, at what time it was done and who has done the mistake, and likewise we go for the analysis. But in case if a staff is continuously doing the mistake, by which the productivity and the quality and everything get affected. So in this presentation, we have come to know that we have to go for giving additional training to the faculty, or enough training to the faculty. Suppose even then, when the faculty does this or the staff does the same mistake, so what solution we can take, sir?
Okay, so basically, sir, we need to prepare a SOPs, right?
Okay.
And some, yes, you have to just ensure that SOPs has been followed. So many of the time we observe the same situations in the industry, right? So we generally tends to say that when you are trying to improve something, the best, or you can say the most important aspect to be with you is a management commitment. Now, what
Okay,
is
sir.
management? Management is something who are leading that process or the department or the organization. Right? Many a time it happens that managements are very enthusiastic to start the improvement process, but after some period of time, they are not that much enthusiastic. Say, for example, when we start one project, so there is not a lot much workload with them, so they are starting much involvement into all the improvement processes. But once we have implemented and they have received some workload, they have workload, so what they do to just satisfy the customer, or just fulfill the customer's requirement, they own start the this violating the SOPs. It happens in the industry because very much time it happens when you try to do something with the some followed step. It may take some higher time, but with the higher time, it ensures the quality of your product or the services. But in industry it happens, let's skip this thing or do it quickly so we can provide the product quickly to the customer, as customer is asking it on urgent basis. Now, how this mindset comes into the workforce? It only comes with the mindset of the management or the leader of that process or the product. Because when they are implementing, or the floor people, you can say the operator or in charge, they are not directly change their SOPs, or they are not directly thinking to violate the SOPs. Directly or indirectly, we are the people who give them the direct or indirect instruction to violate that SOPs. So the management commitment is most important in this aspect. What I am just pursuing, or I am trying to follow this thing.
Sir, okay, sir. Sir, what is the status of quality circle, sir? It is totally abolished, or because we have moved to Six Sigma and Lean Sigma and design thinking and logical or critical thinking. What is the position of quality circles, sir?
So quality circles are still there, and they are improving in a drastically manner. Nowadays, lot many companies are starting a quality circles in their industry.
Okay, sir.
Now, what is quality circle? So it is nothing new. Under the quality circles, we are using these small techniques only.
Okay.
How we can improve the quality? How can we improve? Now, when you talk about the quality, right? So it doesn't mean right now in the current market industries, quality doesn't only linked with the product or the services. Now the aspect to the looking to the quality is changed to the product, services, process, your people, your resources, right? So under the quality circle, we try to improve all of these resources, our product quality also, our people quality also, our resource qualities also. So it is also is there, and it is you can say quality circle having a more aspect right now in the industry.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any another question? Yeah, sir. There is one question in the chat box.
Okay.
What kind of barriers or obstacles will need to assist to remove to be removed during the tollgate review?
What are the
Sir, I'm repeating. What kind of barriers or the obstacles will need assistance to be removed during the tollgate review?
okay? So basically, when you do the piloting, at that time you have to remove the obstacles or the barriers you have faced, because target review is something like we are just trying to see the how this process will be executed in a full scale manner. But during the implementation, or you can say the piloting project, you are facing actual barriers. Now to remove that barriers, you have to have some another solutions. So for example, you skip that step or change the method of implementation of that solutions. So that is how only you can do the things. You have to check the for that only we have do this risk analysis or cost benefit analysis, that whatever the barriers we will have, that will be considered as a risk, because this is a risk which can be which can be go wrong in our process, right? So how to remove this? Again, you have to check whether it is impacting positively or negatively to our process. Negatively, to how much negatively it is impacting to our process, can we uh, just go ahead with this sort of you can say barriers. So similarly, you can decide depending on your objective and the process, that these barriers you can say this how you can remove these barriers in the from your after the piloting project.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Is there any another question? Is there any another question? Okay, thank you very much, Mehul sir, for this wonderful session. Again, we are thanks to accepting our invitation. We learn a lot from you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. I am also delighted to join with you people. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. The next session will be started at 11:30. All the participants are hereby requested to join the next session at 11:30. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much.